What's going on, guys? Back with another video. So we have a interesting video here from former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. And this clip, I believe, was at the debate, the prime ministerial debate that they had before the election. I can't remember exactly what. Maybe this was 1984, but I can't exactly remember which one. But it's Brian Mulroney basically explaining what the Liberals were doing, what they've always been doing, and apparently what they're continuing to do to this day. So Antonio tweets, put out, history repeating itself. When will Canadians learn? So let's have a look at this video from Brian Mulroney here and see what he has to say. Now, before we get into it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help grow the channel. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have gotten over that 10K. And now we're on the road to 100K, and let's see how fast we can get there. And again, I appreciate every one of you so much. Really, really helps grow the channel, and I really appreciate you, and I couldn't do it without you. So let's have a look at this, and then we'll talk about it after like usual.
Do you really believe that if the Liberal government is returned, there is going to be any real change in the attitudes of those who have been stalking power here in Ottawa for 20 or 25 years? Remember that the Liberals made four promises, four solemn undertakings to Canadians in 1980. They came before you, and they said four things and then put them in the throne speech. First, 18 cents a gallon is too much, and it went up to over $1.50. Secondly, we're going to reduce unemployment. When they made that promise, there were 800,000 Canadians unemployed. There are now 1.5 million. Then they said we're going to reduce the growth in government expenditures. It's gone up from 60 billion to 100 billion. And then they said, we give you a formal undertaking that we are going to reduce the deficit in an orderly manner. The deficit's gone from 10 billion to $36 billion a year.
Gee, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Just really sounds like a certain Canadian political party who's making promises and breaking promises. Lie after lie, ridiculous spending budgets or non-budgets if you're the current Liberal Party. Ridiculous deficits. Man, it just really sounds familiar, doesn't it?
It took Canada 100 years, from 1867 to 1967, to accumulate a net debt of $18 billion. And from 1968, with Mr. Turner there and his colleagues, from 1968 to today, 15 years, our net debt has gone from $18 billion to $180 billion.
That's insane.
That's not the fault of the Americans, as Mr. Turner suggests. That's not the fault of our friends and allies. That's the fault of the people who have been running this country, who have been initiating deficit financing, who have been spending more than they could take in, who have been crippling the private sector. There's a new day coming for Canada, and that day brings new hope and new prosperity. The Conservatives, we have never contended we're perfect. We need your help. We need your advice and your counsel, and we will always honor your trust. Our commitment is to Canada, and our commitment is to you.
Now, let's go back here and let's see who they were blaming for these issues.
There and his colleagues. From 1968 to today, 15 years, our net debt has gone from 18 billion to $180 billion. That's not the fault of the Americans, as Mr. Turner
Blaming the Americans
suggests. That's not the fault of our friends and allies.
And I'm assuming he means the Conservatives and the Canadian people. Also something the Liberals do, don't they? Every time Trudeau had a problem, it was all about going back to the Harper government. It's like, douchebag, you've been in charge for 10 years. Gee, this all sounds familiar.
That's the fault of the people who have been running this country, who have been initiating deficit financing, who have been spending more than they could take in, who have
spending more than they could take in. My God, it's just like the Liberal Party of today. Except this Liberal Party is on woke steroids. On top of everything else that sucks about them. And yet, somehow, this country has gotten more and more liberal. Now, again, there's lots of manipulation, propaganda, and, of course, fear-mongering, blaming the Americans. Now, Trump's tariffs are not a good thing, of course, and they didn't help the situation. But if you think that Mark Carney was better suited to deal with Donald Trump than Pierre Poilievre, you're out of your mind. And the fact that we have not learned, I do believe this is 1984. This is over 40 years ago. Nothing has been learned. You still vote for the same party. The party of crime, mass immigration, scandal after scandal, ridiculous budgets, even if they put one out at all, which they aren't this time, at least so far. $92 billion in spending. Unaffordable rent. Insane housing market. Blaming the Americans. Fear-mongering. My God, it's exactly the same. And yes, Brian Mulroney was running a campaign on hope and change. That's what Pierre did. So it's like, well, they're kind of the same too. Right, but Pierre's a more modern center-right conservative. Right? I mean, it's just, there's people who think he's on some like far-right part of the political spectrum. He's not. Oh, he's going to get rid of abortion rights. No, he's not. Even if he wanted to, which he doesn't, he couldn't anyway. That was settled by the Supreme Court in 1988. You cannot touch abortion in this country. Doesn't matter how many seats, whether you have a minority, a majority, or if you win every single seat in the House, you can't do anything about it. So whether you like the laws or you don't like the laws, that's the end of it. It doesn't matter. And they always bring this up, the Liberals, when they get desperate. And you'll see, when Mark Carney starts to get absolutely embarrassed in September, when they resume Parliament and start having question periods where Pierre Poilievre is going to be hounding him like crazy, when he gets in trouble, it'll be abortion. Or you're just like Donald Trump because you're being mean to me. It's ridiculous. And yet somehow this desperation keeps winning because Canadians either aren't voting because they think they're all the same, which is not true anymore. I mean, it wasn't true here either, but that being said, in terms of a lot of issues, war, for example, the Conservatives and the Liberals seem to be on the same page, but on every other issue, the Conservatives are way better. So it's not the same. Canada was a much safer and affordable place under Stephen Harper. It got progressively worse, and now Mark Carney's inheriting a mess. It's not going to take 10 years for people to figure out how much of an idiot Mark Carney really is and what his plan really is to destroy what's left of this country. Now, to bring something back to the lighter side and the funnier side, Mark Carney's at the Stampede. And remember that video? I couldn't find it. I really should have pulled it up. But remember a few years ago when Justin Trudeau was at the Stampede, he's flipping pancakes, and he just couldn't even flip it, basically? Well, Mark Carney is somehow even worse. So Ryan Garrettson posted this video. Carney is just as good as Trudeau was at flipping pancakes. I'd actually say he's worse. So let's have a look. You can judge for yourself.
Special.
Yes. Yes, you can flip that one.
I know.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see, watch this one.
That's not. I was better in Ottawa.
Better in Ottawa.
There you
You folded it in half.
I'm gonna do another one. I'm practicing. I got a little cocky there. But I was here.
I'll just clean it up for you.
No,
I'll take responsibility. Okay. I can have that one. These are mine. I'm not making anyone eat these.
You shouldn't make anyone have to deal with your insufferability either. But hey, Canadians don't learn. Maybe they will soon. Maybe 12 years or 13 years of this liberal garbage will make people change their minds. I don't know at this point. And again, it's the same people who are like, I'm going to go get my 18th booster shot. I'm going to wear 3 masks in a car by myself. They don't learn. Once the propaganda has sunken in that deep, it's just like there's no way out. It's too stuck in their ways, I guess. I don't know. But this is supposed to be the party, the people who are open-minded and loving and tolerant and accepting. Well, they weren't so accepting of a certain protest that happened in Ottawa, were they? And that's their little trick, right? Well, I can't be accepting and loving and tolerant to Nazis. That's how they justify their ridiculous behavior. They just pretend you're something so ridiculous that, well, I can't tolerate that. They're not tolerant, they're not accepting, and they're not loving of anybody they disagree with. And when they get called out, they just say, well, I can't be tolerant to a Nazi. I can't be tolerant to someone who's trying to destroy the country. Meanwhile, you keep voting them in. Dummies. But what can you do? Either way, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Please don't be shy. And again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new one.